Okay, Zatima fans, now episodes 3 and 4 were not my cup of tea. Now, don't get me wrong, they had their moments, but sadly they were too far and in between. As I mentioned on Twitter and in my episode reviews, just thank God for Preston because his presence were definitely the highlight of these episodes. I looked at Twitter and overall the fan base kind of feels the same way. Now, I was looking at some of the responses to my tweets as well as on YouTube, and people were like, well, Jeremy, no, come on now. It's a Tyler Perry show. Of course, the season's going to start off slow. Now, I see where people are coming from, but I have to disagree. There's a difference between coming off slow versus just not being good. Look, I've been doing this long enough to know that not every episode is going to be a banger. Not every episode is a 10 out of 10. There have to be episodes that aren't necessarily filler, but they are set up episodes for the bigger plot points later in the season. Again, I completely understand that. But what got me about it was last week I said, hey, I actually see what they're doing with season 3, the opening episodes. We're getting Zach kind of, in the background. We're getting the setup for his eventual, blow up after he finds out about what Jeremiah did to Fatima. And since we're in season 3, some of the other, I wouldn't even call them the B tier characters, but Zach and Fatima's friend groups, basically those characters are going to play more notable roles because I feel like since we're this deep into the series, we're going to get to know them a bit more. And on top of that, they're going to play more of a vital role in what's going to go down, with the whole Zach blow up. However, when you look at this week's episodes, it's like, okay, a lot of these scenes dragged out. Now, I'm not saying that Zatima needs to be 20 minutes long like House of Pain or Assisted Living, but when you have scenes that drag on for the sake of dragging on with repetitive dialogue, you might want to trim down the episode a bit. It doesn't have to be 28 minutes. Like, an episode doesn't have to go beyond like 23 minutes unless it really needs to go beyond 23 minutes. Because episode 3 was 28 minutes and episode 4 was 24 minutes. And I'm just looking like, well, dang. For the first time when it comes to Zatima, and no joke, I was able to take notes on both episodes on the same sheet of notebook paper. And I'm like, dang, that just says a lot right there. And I feel like, based off the cliffhanger for episode 4, and I don't know what it is about these even number episodes, episode 2 and episode 4, but they are just some weak, and I mean extremely weak cliffhanger endings. Last week, we had the last few minutes where it was a game of phone tag. Angela trying to warn Fatima about all the characters who are showing up to talk to Zach. And then this week's episode, you have Fatima going to intercept Zach before he talks to Jeremiah, just to tell Jeremiah not to tell Zach about what happened in the parking garage. The only reason I give this somewhat a little bit of leeway is because at least this scene didn't take up as long as episode 2 did, because episode 2 was like the whole episode stopped, so like the last 4 minutes could revolve around Belinda calling Angela, Angela calling Fatima, Fatima trying to call, this person to say, hey, turn around, don't come here. And no, it was just weird. So I hate to say it, but these cliffhangers just ain't doing it. I mean, but it's kind of crazy how episode 1, boom, the Jeremiah attack. Episode 3, boom, Bryce's car accident. But I don't know why, but the even number episode, the episode that's going to cut off before we have to wait a full week for the next batch of episodes, the cliffhangers are weak as I don't know what. Now, next week, things could potentially pick up, maybe. But for right now, I'm only talking about what we've seen so far. And I have to say that I was pretty bored with these episodes. I mean, aside from Preston showing up, seeing Belinda truly embody what it means to be Karen 2.0 was something else. But other than that, I really don't have that many other positive things to say. And I was quite bored. And this week pretty much solidified that, yeah, from now on, I'm just going to wait until I wake up in the morning, Lord willing, wake up in the morning and I'll watch the episodes then, because I would have been extremely pissed off if I stayed up until 3 a.m. to watch the episodes when they dropped on BET Plus, only to be extremely disappointed in the fact that these episodes were just not that great. Hopefully things pick up, but I have to just say that these episodes were dangerously on par in terms of being a low level quality like Sister Season 7 was. And sadly, that's saying a lot. So I don't think I'm in the minority here because, heck, a lot of people last week said they didn't rock with the first two episodes. And I know for a fact that based off these two episodes we got today, I know even more people are going to be like, nah, this ain't it. So we'll just have to wait and see. I do hope the show picks up because keep in mind, Sisters returns next week. So imagine if we have another season of Sisters on the same level of mediocrity as season 7, and then Zatima, a show we've been waiting over a year for, is giving us just bad episodes. I think the fan base is going to fall off. Like, man, I hope I'm wrong. Like I said, like I hope the show picks up. You know, that way I could be like, okay, maybe the first 2 weeks weren't that great, but everything picked up. But man, let me tell you, I'm disappointed because my biggest thing was I'm still like in awe that Zach would just go back into the house despite all those people in his front yard saying we need to tell you something, and for him to go like, I ain't trying to hear that. No. And then he hears Jeremiah brought up, and everybody's trying to shut up Nate, and no, it just doesn't work for me. No. So like I said, hopefully things turn around next week. What did you think of this week's set of episodes? It just won't it. So like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.